You guys, it finally happened. I was sitting there just chilling with my wife, watching Netflix, and I got a text from my realtor that he found my next deal. I was super excited, right? Like, what could it possibly be? Where is it gonna be at? The guy knows that I'm looking for rentals, potentially an office. So I excitedly pulled up the link to the listing on the MLS, and I wanna walk you through how to determine if the deal that your realtor sends you is actually a deal or not, the same way I looked at this one that was sent to me. Let's dive right in. If you guys are liking the content that we're putting out here, it would mean a lot to me if you took the time to like, as well as subscribe to the channel. That helps us to know the kind of content that we're putting out that is resonating with you and what we should never do again. Let's dive right in. I was watching an interview on a government website, and the guy that they were interviewing actually did this horrible and now. So that was why we did that for you guys. We realized that that's terrible camera work. So this particular deal that my realtor shot over to me, I've got pulled up on my laptop, which we're gonna share with you. I'm gonna show you how to analyze the deal for free using Zillow, how to look at it a little bit more closely utilizing Propstream, and then a third tool that I like to use called Dealcheck. So if you want to kind of skip around to those various points with where you're at, but I'm gonna show you how I determine just real quick if a property is even worth pursuing more or if it's just a total waste of time. So this is straight out of the MLS, what the realtor sent me. He mentioned that they were selling it as is and that the roof is tarped. If you live somewhere where they don't have hurricanes, Pensacola did get hit by a hurricane last September-ish. So actually, I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but they're taking out a tree that was damaged in the storm at my house right now. So this one is tarped, needs a new roof, super common. They also originally didn't have any pictures up of the inside and mentioned that they were selling it as is. So I was kind of expecting it to be in a little bit worse shape than how this thing looks. It's very much kind of your typical investor-y property. It's got kind of the, two-tone tan and white, light gray and white paint scheme, the kind of cheap vinyl plank throughout, carpet in the bedrooms, kind of just buildery grade, nothing super special. Now, what appeals to me about it when I'm looking for rentals, I'm looking for properties that are 3 bedrooms ideally, and I like 1.5 or 2 beds if possible. If it's just a 1 bath, that's kind of messy, kind of awkward when you have company over. If you have kids, it's a pain in the butt. Even when it was just my wife and I before we had our kid, we were like, hey, we need a place with 2 bathrooms. That way, if I'm trying to shower and she's trying to do her makeup, we're not fighting over the same space, right? So this one looks like it checks those boxes. The other thing that I'm always looking for is properties that have garages. I really like attached 1 or 2 car garages. Maybe that's just the car guy piece in me, but I feel like the kind of people that are looking for a home with a garage are going to be more likely to take better care of the property, stick around, not to mention, if they have motorcycles or whatever, they're not parking them out front or anything like that. So the realtor shot this particular property over to me and said that he thinks it's worth $180,000. So I just did quick math, 75% rule, subtracted out, roughly what I thought it would need in repairs. And basically, I could afford $30,000 in repairs on this $100,000 house, assuming it was worth $180,000. So first thing I did, like any serious real estate investor, I pulled up Zillow to check the old Zestimate. And that was kind of the first red flag. So Zillow's Zestimate's not great. I believe they state that there's a 80% chance that they're within a 20% margin. So if they say something is worth 100, it could be worth 80, it could be worth 120, and they have an 80% confidence that they're within that range. So 124 is obviously not 180. So if you're on Zillow, you can scroll down here to this comparable homes and click choose homes. I think this is actually a newer interface. It kind of pulls up their similar solds. And what you'll see real quick is that, they actually don't really have a ton of great data on here. And they've got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 properties. And some of these that they've got in here is stuff that sold back in 2018, which is not a comp. This one's a condo, which is not a comp. You can click on kind of this like map icon they have right here to see how far it is from the subject property that you're looking at. So I'm all the way over here and they're using something all the way up here. I don't know how your city works, but most cities that I'm in, you cross like a couple of these kind of major streets, let alone like some of these more major highways, and neighborhoods are wildly different. So I really don't even view that as comparable. This one actually was the only one that I saw that looked like it made sense. It's literally in the same neighborhood across the street, just a dozen or so houses down. They have it at 130,000. This sold back on 6/7, so 9-10 months ago. This one they have is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. It was a little bit bigger, like 100 square feet larger. So realistically, I would still view that as a comp. Based off of what Zillow has here, I'm actually gonna go ahead and say that I think their estimate here of 124,000 probably isn't out of line. So kind of first takeaway for you, just because somebody's a realtor tells you that something is a great investment opportunity doesn't mean that it is, or doesn't mean that it makes sense. This particular guy, kind of in his defense, actually sold me the house I'm currently sitting in, is not really like an investment realtor. It's not the kind of stuff that he's normally doing. So I can totally see why, he might have thought this was something a little bit nicer than what it was. So I'm gonna hop in over to Propstream here for a little bit more of a detailed analysis. Propstream is one of the tools that I personally use and pay for every month. I've got an affiliate link that I'll throw down below for them as well as for Dealcheck. And I also did another video kind of explaining what affiliate links are that I'll throw down below as well. So if you just kind of want to understand what's going on there. So this particular property, I've already searched it here in Propstream just to make it nice and easy. Propstream gives you all kinds of really, really good info. So I can see who owns it. I can even see like what he owes on the property, what he bought it for, etc. But they've got this section here where you can click on analysis and look at, no, don't want to do that actually. I can click on details and I can click on comps. So if I scroll down here, I can pick between public record, the MLS, or both. I like the public record bit in case it's a property that's sold for cash, potentially off market to an investor. Now, we can also see that their data is a lot more like in this neighborhood. It's not like Zillow where we're looking at properties on like totally opposite sides of town. These are right literally in the same little subdivision. So right off the bat, if you're paying attention, I'm not really seeing $180,000 sales. Right, there's one here that went for 220 that we can actually click on the little picture icon and see what that was. This one was on what looks like the water. I don't know that I would call that comparable. Also, honestly, it looks like a pretty nice remodel. Looks like they've got hardwoods, kind of some upgraded tile. I mean, this is a pretty cute looking house. So one of the things that's cool with Propstream is you can actually remove comps that you don't think make sense. So I could go in and say, okay, let's cut that 220 out. Normally, I'm trying to cut any outliers, like I'm looking for what the average is. I'll throw down in the comments on YouTube as well. I've done videos on how to comp properties on Zillow and on Propstream. So I'm not gonna dive into that too much. I just wanna kind of show you like the rough numbers on this. So realistically, we cut some of those. Propstream's like baked in value based off the comps. They've got it at 126,000, right in line with where Zillow was at like that 124. So at a $100,000 current list price, their list price doesn't make much sense. I'd need to be quite a bit lower. Kind of just like a quick overview on, you can go through and kind of punch in more to get more accurate numbers. I'd cut out some of this stuff that sold for like 40, 50,000, 30,000, because that stuff is not in the same, it's not the same level of property as this one that this realtor sent me. All right, so moving into Dealcheck. Dealcheck is one of my like favorite tools for just like litmus testing a property. BiggerPockets has their like investment calculators. This is kind of similar, but this is super, super easy to use, and it pulls from like public records. You don't have to necessarily punch in all of the details. Also lets you do a little bit of like the analysis side of things. I will say with them, they're free up to, I think, like 15 properties. And then if you need to do more than 15 at a time, you can pay a whopping $10 a month. So really, really good tool. I actually know the guy who built it, and I could say every interaction I've had with them has been super positive. So I'm gonna create a new property here under Burs, which is buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. If you've been around buy and hold real estate investing, you know what I'm talking about. We're gonna click import data, and I'm simply gonna enter in the address of this one that the realtor sent me. So I'm gonna click search, and it'll pull up all of the info and data, including pictures and everything from the MLS, property description, if it's listed, who's listed it, MLS number, all that good stuff. The other thing that's cool is they have their own estimates as far as like what rent would be that you can go through and pick those. I'm not gonna hop into that too much because I just wanna show you this real quick. So we click import property, and you can see before we've even punched in many details, they're saying that this is gonna cash flow $9 a month. I don't know about you, but I'm probably not gonna tie up 100 grand or more to try to make $9 a month. That sounds like a great way to lose money. So we can go in here and add in additional info. So I'm going to hop in here, and I know it needs a roof. I just did a roof in a similar part of town, similar size house. It cost me 8 grand. From looking at the pictures, I'm estimating there's gonna be about 3,000 to 4,000 in other miscellaneous things. So I'm gonna say just 12,000 bucks. So once we've got that punched in, we can see that if I'm doing like a conventional, 25% down type of a deal, I'm gonna need to bring $41,000 to the table to get this thing closed. Now they've got their after repair value on it at $124,007, and they'll even walk you through like holding costs and all that. But this is the part that I wanted to show you here on the refinance. So they're saying, based off of the ARV of like 124-ish, a 75% loan is gonna be 93,000 bucks. Well, if I'm buying this house for 100 and I'm putting 41,000 down, but I can only get 93,000 out, I would leave $30,000 in this deal. Now you can go through and play with the calculator a little bit more of like what you think your mortgage will be, what percentage you want to assume for vacancy or things of that nature, but they're coming up with a post-tax cash flow of $7 a month. So return on investment would be negative 5.5%. So, obviously this doesn't make sense for me as an investor at their current asking price. Now, just for fun, I'm literally gonna Google calculator while you guys watch this. Let's assume that this thing is worth 125. Where would my offer actually need to come in? So I'm gonna multiply it by 0.75 to kind of use the 75% rule. We're at 93 bucks. I'm gonna then subtract out the 12,000 in repairs, it's me at 81. I'm gonna then subtract out the $3,000 in kind of closing costs. And then I personally like to also account for my holding costs during construction. I'm gonna assume that would be like roughly a month. So I might subtract out another grand or two. So realistically, I'm at 78,000 bucks, not counting for holding costs. My max offer that I'm probably considering for this property is like 75 grand, not the 100,000 that they're currently listed at. And it's not worth the 180 that my realtor initially thought. And then, even then, we still want to take a look at like the rent to cost ratio. If I were to buy this thing for 75 bucks, I'd end up all into it for, let's see, 75 plus 12 plus 3 plus 2. I'd end up for like 92 grand. So 92 grand, Dealcheck tells me that I can probably get like $1,135 in rent. It's actually not a bad deal. That could be worth considering, but definitely not at the asking price that the seller currently has, and definitely not at the price that the realtor initially thought, not what he thought this would be worth, right? Nowhere near 180 grand. He was actually like $60,000 off. So my thought process and goal with this video is like not to trash realtors, not to have you stop working with them, but just realize like you need to do your own due diligence. They're not gonna do it for you. And this guy actually had sent me another deal that looked really good. And before it even hit the market, there was like 5 offers on it. That right there is the very reason that I'm going direct to seller off market to find most of my deals. I just figured I might as well do a little bit of networking and see if I can't find a couple freebies as well. I hope that you guys found this video helpful, kind of gave you some potential tools and kind of just shows you what I'm looking at when somebody sends me a deal. Biggest takeaway on this really is just trust but verify. You know, a wholesaler tells you something's a great deal. Look at it yourself and make sure you think that. A local realtor tells you, you know, tremendous investment opportunity. Well, do they actually own any investment properties, or are they just told that they think investors like that area? So always kind of take what you're hearing with a grain of salt, do your own diligence, trust but verify. Hope that you found this video helpful and insightful. Maybe you use it to get a great deal, or better yet, maybe it helps you avoid buying a bad one like that one we just looked at. Be sure to like the video and subscribe. Again, my name is Ryan Dossey. I'll talk to you next time.